And hello and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. And it is our 77th episode, Matt.
Number 77. Jesus.
It's a good number. If you put another 7 in front of there, we'd win at the slot machines. Then maybe get a couple smiley faces and some cherries in there.
Yeah, here we only get a couple of bucks.
Damn it, come on, big money, big money, big... Actually, I can't complain. Ever since we moved to video, people have been watching more of the show, watching it longer, and the stats have actually been up on that one. So thank you, everyone. That's much appreciated.
Yes, thank you for your support.
Yes, you're making the move to video all worthwhile. And yes, before you ask, I do plan on wearing this hat for the rest of the episode. It's a Star Wars hat, is the thing, in case you were wondering.
I have a beanie exactly like that. It's a Kylo Ren one, and you can like pull it down, and it like it turns into like a balaclava of his mask.
Sweet. Nice. This is reversible too. It's got like the Rebels on one side and the Empire in the other.
All right. So you're going first order today.
Going first order. As I was telling Matt before we started, I'm doing it to cover up for a terrible bad hair day that I'm suffering with. I got a very expensive fade, but just refused to put gel in it or take care of it at all. So I'm like, fuck it, just putting it under the hat. It was not a winter haircut, as I now understand, which, you got to take care of it. Not a hat haircut, not at all. Now, it's funny, Matt, we complained last week that we didn't have enough news to talk about, so we did a fan Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, whatever forces govern the universe and balance the cosmic scales hurt us, because we have a goddamn embarrassment of news this week.
It's too much. Too much.
It's almost too much. Like, here's the thing. We'll look at the time, and we'll try and get to what we read this week, because I know people like that segment of the show. If we maybe only do one or two books, we might end up having to do that, because there is so much to cover this week from across everything. I'm talking comics, I'm talking movies, and I said an embarrassment of topics. I mean that because a couple of these topics are pretty goddamn embarrassing.
Yeah, some of them are pretty terrible.
It was that kind of week, in that kind of month, in that kind of year, on this kind of planet Earth. But yeah, so let's not even grandstand anymore. Let's just fucking hop on into this one. How about that?
That sounds good.
So perhaps the biggest piece of news, this technically hit last week, but because we record the show Sunday night, we didn't know about it until the next day. Brian Michael Bendis, one of the architects of Marvel Comics for many, many years, from the Secret Invasion to all this other stuff, to one of the greatest Daredevil runs of all time, to Jessica Jones, to currently writing The Defenders and creating Miles Morales in the Ultimate Universe. He's leaving Marvel for the first time in many years, and he has already signed an exclusive contract with DC.
This came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it did.
When I first saw it, I'm thinking, someone's fucking with someone. This is all big joke. He wouldn't fucking do that. He's got like 25 books on the go at the moment. But no, it's real, and holy shit.
This is one of those hell froze over moments.
It is.
Much like you, I read that when I woke up, and I'm like, stop lying, internet. Stop. I'm not clicking that. Stop fucking. Oh, God, it's real. Again, this is the sort of topsy-turvy, crazy world we're in. Astros win the World Series, and Bendis is going to be writing for DC now.
He's not the only one as well, because apparently there's rumors that Jonathan Hickman might be going over to DC very soon.
Yeah, there's talk that they've been courting him. Apparently, they've been courting Bendis for a while, too. So, the writing was on the wall on this one, which blows me away, because like you said, Matt, he writes 25 goddamn books for Marvel.
Yeah, he's not someone who just sits around. He's got his fingers in many different pies.
He does. Well, here's the thing. You say he writes 25 books. He also writes 25 books months in advance is the thing.
Yeah. So, yeah. So he probably has the next year of stories built up for Marvel, so he can just leave then, I guess.
Because, what we're reading right now for Defenders, what we're reading in Spider-Man and Jessica Jones, probably going to be his last stuff for them for a long time, and probably will end, maybe not soon, but sooner than we think.
Wow, and Some of the stories are pretty great. It's got obviously the return of Tony Stark stuff coming, so that would be like his final thing for Marvel, and that's a pretty good final thing.
Yeah, I mean, he was the guy who got me back reading Iron Man. He was the guy who, of course, brought Riri into the equation to much acclaim or much anger, depending on where you stood in that one. Personally, I was neither here nor there. I just enjoyed reading the story. But yeah, it's crazy, and it's funny. That, too, his run on Iron Man coming to an end sooner rather than later kind of confirms like a weird Reddit rumor that we saw there where it's like, oh, yeah, his run was always meant to be short in Marvel Legacy. Wade is actually going to be coming on, and Doctor Doom is going to become the new villain.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
If true, that's cool, and if true, goddammit, Reddit was right. I hate to give them credit, but when they're right, they're fucking right.
It's like 60% of the time.
Broken clock is right twice a day. But yeah, that's nuts. And again, it like leads to so many questions of like, who's going to pick up the books he drops? What's he going to write when he gets to DC?
Yeah, well, he's been posting like all his like required reading for DC, and it's just like stacks and stacks of pretty much all like the big books that you usually see people write. There's some really like interesting ones in there, like he's reading a lot of Manhunter, and a lot of
back in Green Arrow at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of JLA, JSA sort of stuff. So I don't know.
He would be a really.
I keep saying he should write Justice League.
Do for Justice League what he did for Avengers back in Disassembled.
Yeah.
Never have they needed that more than they do now. Because, like, Justice League has been pretty unreadable for a long time now.
Yeah. Since Brian Hitch. The last couple issues have been alright, but they've been, like, tie-ins or, like, one-offs from writers. And I'm interested to see what Christopher Priest is going to do with it.
Same here, although now I'm thinking if they have Bendis, maybe Christopher Priest's run will be a short run.
Yeah, well, maybe that... If he does do a Justice League book, maybe that's like the thing, like Priest comes in and does like a 5 or 6 issue run and then Bendis starts or something.
He's also one of those like high profile creators with such a huge name cachet. They could just make a book for him and be like, okay, it's Bendis's Justice League now, or it's Batman by Bendis now. It's just a new book that he gets to play with on his own.
Batman by Bendis would be pretty cool.
Man, from a guy who did one of the greatest Daredevil runs of all time. Imagine his down and dirty street level Batman.
Oh man, that'd be so good.
Hell, imagine his interpersonal chatty Justice League. And clearly the dude has a love for the past, and you mentioned all the JSA he was reading. We were promised a JSA book that never happened. I would be very all right with Bendis tackling JSA.
Definitely.
Hell, he's shown that, he knows young kids and everything because he's a father right now, and I think he draws a lot of inspiration from that when he created Miles and created Riri. Put him on Blue Beetle or something.
Yeah. And we'll probably be talking about it a little later on the show, but they moved that new imprint back a little bit, so maybe he could be writing stuff in there because it's new, young heroes. Could be writing something like that.
He totally could. He would be the perfect fit for that. And in fact, that's another rumor that was kind of persisting where it's like, but why would he leave Marvel? He's been a dyed-in-the-wool Marvel guy forever and ever. A bunch of people have been kicking around the rumor, and my buddy Sal especially turned me on to this one, this idea where it's like he's been at the company for so long, but has never been offered the editor position as far as we know.
Yep.
And maybe that's a thing where it's like, I'm X amount of years old now. If I'm not moving up in this company after all the hard work, maybe I should go elsewhere. And hey, DC launching a lot of brand new imprints. They're going to need new editors on those.
Yeah, definitely. I could definitely see that being a reason. That could probably have been the thing that like got him to go over. They offered him a editor position somewhere.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because, of course, what do we constantly rag on Bendis about, even as much as we love him and respect his work? It's like, God damn it, the man does not respect other people's canons.
No, he doesn't.
He does his own shit, everyone else be damned. I wonder, are they going to let him get away with that at DC, especially when editorial seems to be running a very, very tight ship on continuity at the moment?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I was talking with some people about this, and DC have been doing a lot of like mini series and like Elseworld stuff at the moment. So they
Yes.
could possibly make him do some of them as well, or like something outside of like the normal, where it doesn't really affect the actual canon of DC, like a Wildstorm book or one of these new Dark Universe books.
And if his name is on it, it will sell just
Yep.
by the merit of being Bendis. Because again, love or hate Bendis in the last couple of years, I did not like Civil War 2, but Civil War 2 sold, and a lot of that was because his name was on it.
Yep. And it will sell now as well because it's Bendis at DC. No one's ever seen that before.
It's like it's a whole new crazy thing. I mean, the sky is the limit for this one. I mean, we talked about what he could be writing at DC. Let's talk about something no one is talking about right now. Potential replacements for the books he's writing right now at Marvel. Because like I like Defenders and want to see Defenders continue. Who would you put on that?
Ooh,
I
don't know.
think Rosenberg would make sense because there's a strong Kingpin presence in the Defenders book, and Rosenberg wrote the really great, really underrated but critically praised Kingpin book. I think he would be a good fit.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty good fit. I don't know who I'd want to do Iron Man. Obviously, there's that rumor. Obviously, Mark Waid might be coming in. And I don't know. He's writing a lot of books that only really he could write.
It's true that, or that he has a personal stake in. For again, another one for Defenders, I could easily see them put Charles Soules on it because it's like, hey, you're already writing Daredevil. Let's bring these Netflix things closer together. Let's give you both because you're not really writing the Inhumans now or anything like that. You're freed up for it. Miles is an interesting case because Miles has been Bendis's baby from day one. He's basically been another child to him. He hasn't let anyone really have him or take the reins, which has been both a good thing and also kind of a detriment to Miles in the last little bit I've noticed, where it's like everyone's afraid to do too much with him lest they get on Bendis's nerves.
Yeah, so well, like maybe since he's leaving, maybe they'll be able to do something a little bit more daring with the character, and maybe we might even see him like regain some more popularity.
Or moment. Well, I mean, I think he's always been popular. He's got an animated movie coming out. He's got a big spot in that video game. But it's like, it's like there's not as much buzz around him as there was. Again, going back to that Reddit rumor that may or may not be correct, although a lot of things are becoming true at the moment. There was talk about David F. Walker, who's doing the wonderful and also criminally underrated Luke Cage book at the moment. Apparently there's a lot of talk that he had some pitches for Miles, actually.
Okay, then. That'd be pretty cool.
I'm very much okay with that. I love Walker. Again, I told the story before I got to talk to Walker at Seattle Comic-Con. Nicest man you've ever met. He talked to me for like 5-10 minutes, even though he didn't have to.
Yeah, that's nice.
Sweet dude. I think he would do really well with Miles, and I think a lot of people are agreed with that. And like, I just want him on a book that doesn't get canceled, honestly. Occupy Avengers, man, this is totally my jam, canceled. Power Man and Iron Fist, oh, this is my jam, canceled. Luke Cage, this is awesome, and no one is reading it, and it's gonna be canceled. Please put David Walker on something. Man, dude, David F. Walker worked for DC too. He wrote the original New 52 Cyborg book. The man can't catch a break. Please put him on something that people will buy.
It's also interesting as well, and I haven't seen anyone talk about this, is obviously Bendis has been kind of integral in basically the Fantastic Four starting to come back.
Yeah, he's the only one who's really been writing about it.
Yeah, so like with him gone now, does that put that in jeopardy?
I don't know. He seemed like A, the only one who was really interested in it, and B, the only person who had enough, like, hand and enough clout to be like, yeah, I'm gonna mention the Fantastic Four. I'm gonna put it in. What the fuck are you gonna do? Fire me?
Yeah, exactly. So like with him gone, is that all suddenly just gonna change now? And I hope not, because I really want to read that Marvel 2-in-1.
Me too. Is that I guess it all falls on Chip Zdarsky now, doesn't it, for Marvel 2-in-1 and what he's gonna do?
Yeah.
So more eyes on that book, definitely. But yeah, I mean, just wow, Bendis a DC. If you told me that, like just a week ago, I'd be like, you're out of your goddamn mind. That will never happen.
I know, it's so crazy, absolutely insane.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when the talks were going on for this. I like to imagine that, like DC editorial, they set up like a box or something with like a little stick on it, and they let a thing of Reese's Pieces, and Bendis is like, "Ooh, what's going on over here? Ha, we got him." And at Marvel, Axel Alonso and Brevoort are just like, "Oh, freaking who left the cage door open? What the hell, guys?"
Yeah, why isn't Bendis at work today?
This is how we lost Lemire. This is how we've lost everybody. You leave the door closed, damn it. Because that's obviously how comic books work and how hiring writers work. You set up elaborate traps for them in New York and LA, and then they get trapped. It's another thing about Bendis that I don't think he ever gets credit for, and it's something I think it was Jason Aaron brought up on Twitter, where he's like, "Oh, I'm going to miss sitting across from him at the Marvel story retreats." And I'm like, oh yeah, even stuff Bendis didn't write, like, he's always been an idea man, and I can only imagine sitting down with him at a Marvel retreat. The dude probably fires off like 100 ideas.
Yeah, he was so ingrained in Marvel, like, for a number of years, so to have him leave, it's like there's this just spot that's just open and nothing there now.
It's a Bendis-shaped hole.
There's a big Bendis-shaped hole in the wall.
It's also one of those things, too, where it's like, goddamn, who are Marvel superstar writers anymore? Slott, Aaron, and that's it.
Yeah, everyone's like either left or gone to Marvel, gone to do like indie stuff like Jonathan Hickman has. Yeah, they're kind of losing everything there.
They're losing their superstars, and they get like, it's just such a point where it's like, no, you guys gotta, like, you guys have a fallback plan, right? Like, I know as we mentioned in another episode, they're getting the young, interesting talent, like Saladin Adid or what is it again, Matthew Rosenberg, Ta-Nehisi Coates. It's like, okay, you've got the young writers and everything, and they're interesting, and they've got good ideas, and they're taking stuff into new directions. But I hate to say, they're not going to sell books just by having their names. Like, even Bendis' shitty book sold because his name was on it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see who they get to replace him in that respect.
Yeah, I worry about you, Marvel. Jesus. I really do. Like, I don't want to be one, like, I've never tried to be one of those doom and gloom guys, like, oh, Marvel, oh, they're in trouble, oh, Marvel, it's really rough for them right now. But I'm like, it is getting kind of rough now. Like, Bendis, that's a blow I actually believe in. Like, that's not hyperbole.
Yeah.
That's actually something.
It is.
That's actually something. I'm dying to see how they rebound from this one.
Yeah.
Jeez, but yeah, moving on from the world of crazy shakeups in the world of comics to the crazy shakeups in the world of comic book movies, potentially. Another story that broke early last week is apparently Disney had attempted to buy Fox Studios and their assets, which of course includes the superhero assets too. This deal, after everyone freaked out about it, we find out, no, the deal stalled and it didn't go through. But we were this close to Disney owning Fox and everything Fox owned.
I'm kind of glad it didn't go through. As much as I want to see, the Fantastic Four and the MCU and everything, them buying it would mean they have kind of like a monopoly, and it would just become all Disney stuff. There's no, I guess, variety.
Well, it's like, it's not even just that. It's like everyone on my Twitter feed is like, yeah, Fantastic Four back. Yeah, X-Men back. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. I'd like the toys back in my box too. But they're not doing this deal for that. They want to own Fox's news and sports and everything else, which I'm not personally a fan of. But hey, this is a creepy monopoly thing, everybody. Like, yeah, Avengers 5 versus Galactus starring Wolverine would probably be dope as hell, but I don't like the idea of the mouse running everything I watch and read and everything.
Yeah, it sounds good, but yeah, it's not really that good when you actually think about it. Like
the real world the real world things that it would do, not so great. Which it actually, apparently that was one of the big reasons why the deal didn't go through, is that if they were to do this, it would legitimately break a bunch of monopoly laws.
Yeah, because they own like way too much stuff
already. Yeah, even on YouTube, Disney even owns some of your favorite YouTube people as well. Not us, we're not with Maker. But if Maker wants to make me a good deal, Actually, my contract with my guys was up like a couple weeks ago, and I should have negotiated, but I forgot to.
You forgot to ask for more money.
I forgot to ask. It was the 6th, and I had set up a thing, and I'm like, okay, so I'll talk to you on the 6th, right? I've been with you for a couple years and everything, and yeah, I was gonna ask for more money. Then I look at the calendar, like, oh fuck, it's the 11th. Shit.
Joel, you're a terrible businessman.
I am a terrible.
I forgot about that deal. God damn it.
Well, here's the thing. They got me real young, man. They got me off that bus in LA, and they're like, hey, man, sign this contract. It's only a year. Little did I know, yeah, it's only a year, but if you don't say anything, they roll it over to the next year and to the next year. So, hey, let that be a lesson to all you young enterprising YouTubers out there. Pay attention to that shit.
Yeah, read contracts.
Yeah, See, I read it, but I forgot. It's all filled with comic stuff. But yeah, the Disney Fox thing would have been huge, not just for the comic book thing that everyone was excited for and the potential movies and universes we could have gotten, but it also could have like changed the entertainment landscape as we know it.
Definitely.
Also, for as much as I like Disney and I like their work with the Marvel superheroes and I like their stuff with Star Wars, even they're starting to do kind of some creepy shit. Like, I'm sure you heard the thing I heard via Red Letter Media, that for the new Star Wars movie, they're ostensibly trying to bully certain key theaters and be like, no, if you want Star Wars, and you're going to want Star Wars because it's the biggest goddamn thing, you got to keep it for X number of weeks and you can't play another movie.
Yeah, and they were taking like 65% of the earnings. It is pretty bad, but it's not as bad. I think like when episode 1 came out, George wanted like 95% of the take. Mm-hmm. So that's awful. But yeah, it's pretty awful that they want 65%. I think if like you don't show it for the amount of weeks, you get like another 5% added on every other week or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's some awful thing.
And again, love Star Wars, love Disney, don't like screwing small business owners.
Yeah.
Especially the theater industry, which, God bless you if you're still in that industry, because it's gotta fucking suck in 2017 when you gotta compete with Netflix and streaming and Hulu and video games and hardcore pornography and everything else that's just at the touch of my finger that I can call up on my phone right now if I want.
Yeah, they're not gonna be around for very much long, I don't think.
No, like, as we've said many times before, we will probably see the death of the movie theater in our lifetime, everyone who's a 20-something.
Yeah, and that sucks, because I enjoy going to the movies.
Me too. It's a wonderful experience when it's nice, and, you know, hey, big shout-outs to, like, all those theaters in Austin and Seattle and all these other cool theaters that are trying to, like, change the experience and be like, okay, you can see a movie, you pay a little extra, and we got like super comfortable chairs that go back, and you can get booze and like actual hot food and stuff and everything, and like trying to make it like a dinner and a movie experience. That's the future.
Yeah, our cinemas here do that as well, and you can see the change in it as well, because you see more people at the cinema when you go, whereas before you never really saw anyone. You saw like one other person.
Yeah. And by making it a nicer, fancier, more upscale thing where I pay a little bit more, hopefully it'll dissuade, you know, asshole loud talkers in theaters as well.
Like the one you had when you saw Thor?
That motherfucker. There were two of them. Again, for people who didn't read my tweet, I had my first shushing experience with some loud talkers behind me. And these guys were like, if you looked at movie theater loud talker in a dictionary, you would see a picture of these two guys. They roll in super late for one, talking loud all the way down, talking loud to about to sit down. I'm like, please don't sit behind me. Please don't sit. Oh, fuck, you've sat behind me. So now it's my problem. Like, they talk all the way through the credits, which is fine. I don't think you should talk through the credits for the people who do want to listen to them, but I will accept you talking through the opening, like, you know, commercials and everything. But then, like, as soon as the movie started, as soon as we're into it, they were still talking. They were talking about the douchiest thing too. They're like, "Yeah, man, you see that McGregor fight, man? Yeah, you know, check out my my MMA fan page on Facebook." And I'm like, "You dumb motherfucker!" And because it's Canada too, they were talking about George St. Pierre, who ironically was also in a Marvel movie, hilariously. I think he was in Kick-Ass too, so he's actually been in a couple superhero movies. But it's at that point I turned around to them and I said, "Hey, you're not in your living room. Shut the hell up." And they did. Like, I never thought I was intimidating to shut them up, but I guess they looked at me and they're like, wow, that pasty nerd is really serious about this.
You made them reevaluate their whole life.
Really, in that 1 minute, where it's like, look, I'm fucking doing this for a review, man. If I don't know what's happening with Thor and I don't catch all the subtle Taika Waititi jokes, I'm gonna stomp your fucking ass. Now, that would have been something to make the small town newspaper, and it would have, because I live in that small a town. Paunchy nerd beats up 2 MMA dicks in movie theater. I'm sitting there in the police station in the drunk tank. Hey, what'd you do? I beat up 2 guys at Thor for talking. And the drunks and the heroin addicts, yeah, they had it coming, man.
Oh, don't mess with him. He'll beat you up.
I hate movie talkers, man. I swear. I just go to the theater and I want to shoot up and there's guys talking behind me. It's the worst. But yeah, so that's that Disney thing. And what's interesting is just because the deal is dead now, as far as we know, doesn't mean it can't be resurrected, though, as deals often are.
Yeah, well, people have said, like, yeah, the talks are dead, but, like, the deal is still, like, on the table. Like, they could at any moment decide, like, oh, we'll renegotiate.
And just because monopoly laws are stopping Disney from doing it now, Disney gets the laws changed all the time, everybody. Like, Mickey Mouse should have been in the public domain decades ago, but they lobbied Congress and they got it extended, and they will continue to get it extended. Disney does not care for your puny human laws. For we are the house of the mouse.
Human laws do not apply anymore. It's only the laws of the source.
Exactly, the laws. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they might get that shit changed, or they'll buy just enough that it doesn't count as a monopoly, but they'll do it. Which, man, that's going to be something. That is going to be something. It was so much easier with Sony and Spider-Man, just some shitty people sending shitty emails, getting caught and being forced to make a deal.
Yeah. And then people learned from that. Why did people have to learn from that?
I know. Why do people have to learn from their mistake? Why couldn't this be easy? Why couldn't we have gotten the Fantastic Four and the X-Men back the easy way? No, we got to have all these hard conversations about monopolies and what that means for the greater entertainment culture and all the people who might lose their jobs. And even though I might be happy in the moment because I get Galactus and Doctor Doom and everything, I'll be sad for all those people. And I'm further conflicted because I don't even like Fox News and sports, and yet I'm actually kind of defending them. What is wrong with me? World's weird, Matt. We live in a weird time.
We do.
But hey, you know what's even weirder? Wentworth Miller announced this week that as of the big CW crossover, which is this week, right? Crisis on Earth X starts this week?
I think so. I don't know. I think next week, because I think this week is a different episode of Supergirl.
Right, okay, so it starts very soon. It starts either this week or next week. Well, he announced via social media that this role, which in fact it's already been announced he'll be playing Citizen Cold in this crazy crossover, not Captain Cold, but that this will be his last CW role for a bit as he goes to do other stuff.
Yeah, he's kind of leaving the role, which is a shame because we kind of wanted him back on the Legends team and running around with them. But yeah, obviously it's not. I want him back to be
a Flash villain again. He was one, if not the best Flash villain from season 1, and he was only a villain for a little bit. It was the Loki thing. It was the Loki trajectory where he was so good as a villain and so charming he couldn't have stayed a villain longer. I feel super gypped too because we never got like the Rogues Rebellion. We never got all the Rogues fighting him at one time.
Yeah, that was a shame. They never really used Captain Cold all that often, and when they did, it was like for like a really quick sort of thing. He was never like a multi-episode villain, which he should really have been.
He should have been an arc-long villain. He could have been an arc-long villain.
Yeah.
That's a real shame that we'll never get to see him. Like, well, I keep pitching Gorilla Grodd should bring them back and mind control and everything, so that way you get around all the new character developments.
Yeah.
And that way you could have Barry be like, oh, why is Heatwave and Captain Cold attacking me? I thought they were good. Now, mind control.
Yeah.
That's why. But yeah, he's going to be leaving now. Man, between him and Stein, it sucks to see these people we like so much leaving.
Yeah, they're all kind of leaving after a couple of seasons. It's weird if they're going to like maybe either recast or like just add someone in that fills that role.
I think it's one of those things where it's like you can go and we'll leave it open-ended enough that we can bring you back when you're done, whatever engagement you have.
Yeah, the Colton Hayes agreement.
Yeah, there you go.
When you go off to go do movies and try and be famous, and that doesn't succeed, you can always just come back to Arrow.
There you go. I mean, to their credit, I guess it's good that they're like, are popular now, and playing super characters helped introduce them to like a whole new audience, and like they're getting better deals and better offers now. But at the same time, too, it's like, oh, but I'm gonna miss you though.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially Cold, because like we said, it feels like there was a lot left undone with his character.
There was so many places you could go with it, and they never did anything with it.
No, he got too popular too quick and got made into a hero too quickly.
Yep.
Well, at least we'll always have season 1 of Legends where he was the best thing when the rest of the show sucked. Now the rest of the show is good. What would he even be like if he came back to Legends now when the show is actually enjoyable now?
He'd be the only serious one where he'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with all you people?
That would be the joke. Everyone else is so self-aware and not taking anything seriously. He would be like he was, and everyone would look at him like he was a weirdo.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good pitch, man. I hope they do that at some point. And meanwhile, frickin' poor Constantine out there is like, I'll be on a 2-parter. I'll be whatever you want.
Please, I need more screen time.
Dude, I'll voice an animated me. I'll do whatever you want. It's hard, man. It's hard out here for Constantine. I had a show once. Yeah, you did. They put it in the death slot. It was really good and really loyal to the subject matter. I'm sorry it didn't work out for you.
I find it so strange that like that show, a magical based character show, failed, but like something like Lucifer keeps getting series. And Lucifer's okay, but like it's kind of like the same sort of thing.
My mom watches Lucifer now. She called me. It's like, hey, you hear about that devil show with the Lucifer? It's based on a comic, right? I'm like, yeah, but I don't think it's very much like the comic, though. I think they just took the name and nothing else. It's like, oh, it's pretty good. I'm like, well, I know one person who watches it now. It's funny. I never watched like episode 1 of Lucifer because I'm like, man, freaking if Constantine didn't make it, this isn't gonna make it. 3 seasons? Are you for real?
Yeah, it's got 3 seasons and it's probably gonna get a 4th.
As I have said many times before, the problem with Constantine is the same problem with John Carter of Mars, and that is it was the original. It was the trendsetter for the hard-drinking, hard-living, hard-smoking British magic man in a trench coat that stuff like Supernatural and Grimm and all these other shows were stealing off its plate forever and ever, so by the time it actually got made into a thing, everyone's like, this is derivative.
Yeah, this is copying this show or that movie or something.
No, everything else was copying it, but you just didn't see it until now. God damn it. Just like John Carter of Mars. See, that's what they need to do. They need to make an Expendables-style movie with, like, a bunch of actors who are supposed to be bigger but never made. And you can have the actor who plays Constantine. You can have Taylor Kitsch. And they're all on a team of guys like, we were almost famous. We were totally, aimed to be famous. Then we weren't. That's what they got to do. Ooh, you can get the guy who played Jack from Lost. Although, I mean, I guess he was technically big before Lost. Lost was his comeback, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
And he tried doing stuff. Hey, what happened to the Irish guy from Lost, one of the hobbits? He seemed like he'd be bigger.
Yeah, I actually don't know what he's up to. Yeah, he did like he was in like Wolverine Origins and
yeah.
Again with Taylor Kitsch.
There's
something about that guy. He kills people's careers.
Brings them all back to the curse of Kitsch. It's a bitch being Kitsch. Again, now I'm just thinking of other actors from Lost. The guy who plays Sawyer, he had a couple of shows, but that never went anywhere.
Yeah, and they had him in Mission Impossible for like 2 seconds before being shot.
He was like in a terrible musical too, and you're like, wow, you just do anything, huh? I thought you were so good on that show, but now you just seem to do whatever. What about Saeed? Did Saeed go on to do anything?
He was in Heroes, wasn't he?
Was that the same actor? Well, because it was the same people, yeah, who did Heroes, who did Lost.
I think I'm probably thinking of someone else.
I think that might have been a different Indian guy. Oh, well, I mean, they're all probably on Once Upon a Time because that's the connection of Lost, Heroes, and Once Upon a Time. They all use a lot of the same speaking of heroes, Milo Ventimiglia, or whatever the hell his name is, he keeps showing up and stuff. He's got a good manager, that guy. I always thought he was super bland, but he keeps showing up and stuff.
He gets the work.
He gets the work. Apparently, he's a super nice guy in real life. Apparently, he'll talk to you, he'll take pictures, he'll do whatever. Apparently, he's like a total sweetheart.
He wants that money.
Wants that money there. So, sorry I never learned your name, Milo Ventimiglia. It's a lot of words. And hey, you know what? Speaking of, what is it? The X-Men, and I mean, really, that's all Heroes was, is just a gigantic X-Men ripoff. Brand new X-Men book got announced this week, or leaked. They didn't really announce it, but Tom Taylor is going to be penning X-Men Red. Get it? We're keeping with the whole gold-blue thing.
Yeah. I actually talked to him about it yesterday at Comic-Con, and he didn't reveal anything, of course, but he said there's going to be some new characters coming and some old characters coming back.
Interesting. Of course, the cover, as it revealed, old Jean Grey, who is going to be coming back, getting a mini-series. She is going to be going on to lead this team, and she has a brand new costume, too.
Yeah, everyone's going to have red costumes, probably.
Yeah, keeping it with the team. You know, you got red hair, you got red costumes. I think it's a given, and I would put money on this one. If Tom Taylor is writing this one and it's an X-Men team, X-23's got to be on it, right?
Maybe he wouldn't want to do that.
Maybe it's too obvious.
Yeah, I get the feeling that like maybe they're gonna like twist it a little bit, and X-Men Red's gonna be maybe like a villain team.
Wouldn't that be great? Yeah, because we don't know in what form old Jean Grey is coming back.
Yeah, it could be Phoenix Jean Grey, and that's not a hero.
No, it's not. That's a destructive force of the universe. Yeah, we don't really have a bad guy team at the moment. We have good guy teams, and then we have like not X-Force. What's the other one?
Weapon X.
Oh yeah, Weapon X. We kind of got the anti-hero teams, but we don't have the straight up evil teams.
Yeah, that'd actually be really cool.
I mentioned Laura on an X-Men team because it's like, oh damn, you have so many freaking X-Men teams and you can't have her on one.
Yeah, well, didn't we joke about having like a Wolverine for each team?
We did. So this is how you do
this
it.
Is the start of it.
Or I don't know, or you get like Dokken on there too if this does end up to be the evil team. Now, if it's red, can it only be people who have had red costumes? So you get the Juggernaut on there because he has a very famous red costume.
Yeah, you get Omega Red.
It's in his name. There you go. I don't know, man. We're building a pretty good team so far. Phoenix, Jean Grey.
Yeah, this is a pretty OP team.
It's a pretty OP team so far. I mean, obviously, if there's new characters, he'll invent new red characters or just give characters new red costumes.
Yeah.
Works perfectly.
Yep.
I mean, I'm excited for people who are excited for this book, but honestly, I have sworn off reading anything X-Men, and I don't miss it. I really don't.
I'll give Red a go. I stopped reading X-Men Blue and Gold, and they were fine. It was just they were coming out too frequently.
And they didn't keep your interest.
Yeah.
It's like my problem with X-Men is like, you know, clearly they're an afterthought at Marvel right now. They can't grow the brand because word from on high doesn't want them to grow the brand because they don't have the right to make movies.
Yeah.
Which seems so backward, and it is because that's Ike Perlmutter, businessman, messing with all the artists.
Yep.
And it feels like a lot of the X-Men, even the stuff people have liked, like that whole Mojo World crossover and everything they're doing, it's like, it feels like you're just kind of reliving your glory days over and over again. It feels like, hey, here's stuff you liked before, but in a different context.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can the X-Men not do anything new?
No, they can't.
They can't do anything. I've pitched forever, get some like more street level mutants and do a book where X-Men fight crime. When was the last time X-Men fought crime?
That was my problem with like X-Men Gold. X-Men Blue kind of like did that with like they fought villains and everything, but right. X-Men Gold was more of like, let's look at like the racial sort of like parallels and stuff like that, and it didn't really come out very well. But yeah, a crime fighting mutant team would be pretty cool.
And I mean, you can do all that social commentary stuff. It's just like I've seen for so long the X-Men just dealing with X-Men problems.
It's never different.
No, it's never. You can only tackle that so many ways.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think the best, most unique X-Men book they did in a long time was the Magneto book, because it was like a revenge book just starring Magneto.
Yeah, that was a really good book.
And it was also kind of like a crime book, too, because he's like, hey, you know, this is a mutant fight club where they kidnap mutants and force them to fight one another. I'm going to kill them all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's sweet. That's pretty awesome. Or like, hey, you know, here's a doctor who is like doing cruel experiments on mutants. I'm going to kill him now. And I'm like, oh, sweet. It's like the Punisher if he could control magnets. I'm all about this. They should do more interesting stuff. Like even Old Man Logan, I dug because it was different.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't kept up with the new Ed Brisson Old Man Logan, but it looks like it's like going back into that thing of like, well, let's just reiterate other things people like about Wolverine. What if he fought the Hulk again? But what if the Hulk was the Maestro, though?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's turned into.
And I'm like, well, I saw that, though, is the thing. I mean, you know, Jeff Lemire was keeping it a little bit different.
Yeah, keeping it a little bit interesting.
A little bit interesting. I think, yeah, I my heart goes out to people who have to write X-Men books at this era in Marvel, because it feels like they've been running in place forever.
It's got to be tough, because I imagine they come in like, oh, we got all these really cool ideas, but we can't ever use them. We've got to rehash, like, we've got to bring back the Dark Phoenix, and...
Can we do Days of Future Past again?
Yeah, I imagine they're probably going to involve the Shi'ar Empire because the new movie's coming out soon and stuff like that.
Can we do Age of Apocalypse again? Can we work Apocalypse in somehow?
Hey, can we have Wanda go crazy again and do House of X?
Yeah, let's do that.
House of M, I mean.
Yeah, no. You see, we already did House of M, so this one will be called House of X.
Isn't there already a series called that?
I'm sure there is. The X-Men have done everything that you can put an X in front of. But hey, man, one thing about X-Men that I like, Gifted continues to be good.
Yeah, that's so surprising that show is actually good. I still think it looks and feels like a show from the mid-2000s, but
yes,
it works.
It feels like a show we found completed in a time capsule from the early 2000s.
Yeah, and they're just starting to air it.
And they're just starting to air it now. But hey, you know what? Again, you know what's cool about Gifted? It's different. We're following a group of people who we don't really get to follow, where it's like, yeah, the X-Men and the Brotherhood exist, but this is like your everyday mutant on the ground who doesn't fight crime, who just struggles to stay alive day to day.
Yeah, these are the people who are still back at the mansion when the X-Men go off to fight someone.
Exactly. These are the non-celebrity superstar mutants. And I'm like, oh, that's a cool premise. And also it's like, hey, there's also like more humans who live with them too. Like that bit they did with the Sentinel Services agent who's trying to hunt them down, and you learn, you know, why he hates mutants because they died in like an X-Men 9/11 thing. And then, like, they erase his memories of his dead daughter, so he has to learn his daughter is dead all over again. I'm like, ow!
Yeah, and like, god damn, this is network TV? That's pretty heavy for network TV.
Man, you that episode is a perfect example where it's like, man, how do you get someone to sympathize with a really bad villain? Oh, that's how.
Yeah.
That's how you that's like instant sympathy right there.
Yep.
And boy, did I ever sympathize with that guy. That episode was way better than Flash this week.
Oh, let's not talk about Flash. Let's not, please.
one of easily the worst episode of the season, maybe one of the worst episodes they've ever done. And it's a shame because it started from what in any other show would be a very positive place. And that is, hey, let's shine a light on our female characters. Let's actually give them a focus piece. I'm like, oh, that's great. Too bad all your women characters, except for Caitlin, are super underwritten, and this show only further illustrates how underwritten they are.
Yeah, they had nothing to do whatsoever.
No, like, man, and it's like, it was so bad. I'm like, man, I bet like some dudes wrote this who just didn't get it, you know? Then I look at it, I'm like, oh no, this was directed by a woman and written by 2 women. Oh no. Also, hey, it's the only episode this season that's been written by women and directed by women. So I'm like, oh no, further. But also, hey, for, you know, a real thing about diversity, women can fuck up a superhero show just as well as guys can fuck up a show. And we all learned a lesson.
It was all Felicity's fault.
Man, that's such a sad place where it's like, okay, so it's Iris's stagette party, and she invites all her friends. Caitlin, who she just knows from work and who isn't really her friend because they've maybe only had a couple conversations. Her dad's girlfriend can come. Again, they're not really friends, and I guess Felicity from Arrow, because a cameo would be nice, and well, they've maybe only had 3 conversations in the 3 seasons of the show's been around, and it didn't really become friends. That's your friends.
And then they didn't invite like that woman who works for like Argus, who's been around for them. Didn't even bother to send a multiversal transmission to Kara and her friends,
or to Gypsy even. Yeah. It's like, dude, Gypsy we at least know. At least Gypsy can get shit done.
The Kara thing is so weird as well because she didn't get invited to that, but she gets invited to the wedding.
Yeah. What's up with that? Didn't get invited to the stag but gets invited to the wedding. That's just. Also, too, I'm pretty sure the only reason they invented or made Elongated Man basically act like Elo Bryan is so they could justify a reason for Flash and company to go to the strip club this season.
Yeah.
But it's a CW strip club.
Yeah,
which is like
a PG-13 strip club.
Yeah, if you can't show anything and you can't do anything, why are you even trying?
Yeah.
And poor Katie Sackhoff too, just mugging.
That was an awful villain. That and like the villain who has the power to grow like a tentacle from his eye. It's like the worst fucking power ever.
That guy is from the comics. Her character is not. Her character is a new one they created.
In the comics, does he do that? I had no idea that guy was from the comics.
Yeah, I think that was his name. He's like a weird like 1950s character that they dug up because he's kind of related to DeVoe. Like they were in the same story together, so I think they just grabbed the name and put it on him.
Okay then.
Yeah, that was a bad episode that just misfired on so much. It's like, we're gonna shine a light on our female characters. Don't, unless you're gonna write them better. Like, really don't. Like, no one came out of that episode looking good. Everyone looked like a chode at the end of that one.
Yeah.
Christ, that one was tone deaf. But hey, bringing it back to some ladies we do like and some ladies who are well written, Mera is going to be getting a solo mini series in February from Dan Abnett.
Yeah, probably just in time for the Aquaman movie to be coming out.
There you go.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I've been saying since the Jeff Johns run on Aquaman that Mera could probably hold up a solo series because she's not a sidekick. She's an actual crime-fighting partner.
I'm surprised that she hasn't had one until now. Like
Me too.
When I read that, I'm like, really? She hasn't had one? I'm sure she's had one in like the early 2000s or the 90s or something. But yeah.
No, this is her first. Good for her. And again, you mentioned the movie. I can understand. Because her costume looks better than Momoa's, and she looks cooler than Momoa. They're already getting ready for being like, no, she's going to be the big breakout of this. We just know. But yeah, more power for that. I like that it's Abnett behind it. Much like you fell off X-Men, I fell off Aquaman, which is a shame. Which is a shame because apparently the new arc looks absolutely beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
The art they have on it is
it's art by Stedgen. I'm not even going to say his name, but he does really, really good art.
He did some Green Arrow stuff, too. Yeah, I know him. Yeah, his stuff is really, really pretty. They also brought back Dolphin, which, of course, they brought back Dolphin because I'm pretty sure, if I'm not wrong, I think Abnett created Dolphin, so that makes sense.
Yeah. And I definitely want to pick up that book again. It looks really cool.
It does look cool, even though I was like, totally against it at first. I was having a bit of like a fanboy huff, where I'm like, oh, he grows out his hair and beard again because of Momoa, huh? Oh, he gets kicked out of Atlantis again for like the 5th time this week because they want to make it more like the movie, huh? Only to hear people say, no, they actually find a good reason for it. Like he leaves purposely this time and be like, they don't want me to be king, so I'm just not going to be king anymore.
I remember, I think it was like a week ago, an artist who was doing work for DC Rebirth, he wanted to do the Momoa costume for the DC Rebirth for Aquaman, but they said no, original costume.
It's so funny the back and forth they have because people forget when Momoa got cast, they made Aquaman like him. He grew his hair and his beard, got kicked out of Atlantis. Cullen Bunn wrote it, and it only lasted like a volume and a half because people rejected it so hard.
Yeah, didn't he also have like tattoos as well? Or was that like the armor was in the shape of Momoa's tattoos or something?
The armor looked like tattoos, yes.
Yeah, god damn it.
that was DCU right around the same time of Batmech and Powerless Superman and God of War Wonder Woman.
Batmech was okay. Powerless Superman was there, and God of War, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, there's also Green Arrow was a werewolf, but only like right at the end. Like it's like Green Arrow showed up late. Where it's like, oh, you've all got crazy new things. I got a crazy new thing now. Ollie, we're done with it. Stop being a werewolf. Okay. You know, all my senses get more powerful if I'm a werewolf, and it helps with archery, and I can bite and slash people.
Yeah, when the bow breaks, I could just maul them to death.
Which made me think, I'm like, yeah, why aren't there more werewolf superheroes? I mean, there's Werewolf by Night, and there's a few other ones, but yeah, more werewolves should also be superheroes. Sabretooth is basically a werewolf, only not.
Yeah, the one on the Howling Commandos, and he's kind of disappeared.
Yeah, exactly. We need more werewolves in comics. That's my new initiative moving forward. DC werewolves. Just every story will have a new werewolf.
It's a big event where everyone gets turned into a werewolf.
Because why not? And suddenly all the silver-based villains are like, haha, finally it's my chance. I can do this. I got this. Hell, they made everyone in DC apes for a minute. Why not make them all werewolves for a minute? Werewolves are cool. What else do we have here? Oh, well, keeping with the DC film thing, and we got a couple stories related to that. Ben Affleck, in a big interview a week before Justice League opens, they ask him, hey, can you tell us about the future of Batman? And he said, I'm unsure. And then left it at that.
Oh, God.
Look, I got no horse in this DC film race. I haven't liked them. I enjoyed Wonder Woman. I want them to succeed even if I see all the problems. Even this hurt me where I'm like, you don't say that, Ben. Even if you're quitting after Justice League, you don't say that a week before the movie goes, other people need to get paid too, Ben.
He just doesn't give a fuck anymore.
There is a massive hole there in the Warner Brothers backlot. Oh, what's that hole? Oh, that's what Ben Affleck drops the fucks he doesn't give. It's just overflowing with fucks he doesn't give. That is a man who just is tired and fed up and wants out.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time like a role did this to someone. Like just like that coupled with like obviously his personal life thing. It's just like made him a hollow shell of a person. Did
anyone on Justice League have any fun? It doesn't seem like they did. It sounded like it was a grueling death march where it's like, okay, here, you did it with Snyder. Oh no, he had a real personal tragedy. That sucks. Okay, everyone's got to come back in now and do it again because we got to reshoot this and we got to make it salvageable.
Yeah. They basically had to make the same movie twice with different directors. So it means doing the same thing but 2 times differently.
Do we get paid more? No. No, you get paid once. And I mean, look, that's Hollywood. That's the price of making movies and everything. But still, that's gotta suck. And that's just gotta suck the energy out of you. And then on top of it, oh yeah, now you gotta go do media.
Yeah, a media tour for, 2 months.
Yeah, you got to answer the same question 1,000,000 times a day. And hey, here's the thing. The guy who asked that question, what's the future of Batman? For all we know, that was the 1,000,000th time he got asked that today. And he's like, you know what? I don't fucking know. How about that? Write that down on your paper. I don't know. I'm tired. I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to go sleep.
Yeah, I want to drink, but I can't. Yeah, but I just don't know. And it's like, even Momoa in that video too, like he also kind of looked tired too, because again, we don't know when these presses were done. Like maybe that was just the snapping point.
Yeah, probably.
And even still, like it breaks my heart because it's like, man, playing Batman should be the most fun job in the world, shouldn't it? Like you should have a smile on your face and a song in your heart. I'm Batman. But Ben Affleck isn't that.
Yeah, you gotta wonder like what like his schedule as Batman has been like. It's probably been grueling as hell.
Yeah, for movies that critics don't like and fans continually argue back and forth about, where it's like, does anyone care what I'm doing?
Yeah, yeah.
And also, too, it's like, Affleck said, oh, I did this for my kids. I thought it would be cool to be Batman for my kids. I can only imagine this probably hasn't helped out his relationship with his kids or anything
Yeah, no, his Batman isn't like something you just show it like a kid. Like, hey, look, come watch Daddy blow a guy up with a flamethrower.
Yeah, I don't know how old your kids are, Ben, but that seems like kind of a thing where it's like, you made a Batman movie you couldn't bring your kids to, or at least you'd have to think twice about.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. And again, yeah, we don't know what the future holds for Batman. Maybe they'll kill him. Maybe they'll recast him. Maybe they'll, I don't know, flashpoint him out of existence or something.
Well, I think that's probably what they're waiting for. They're going to see how Justice League does, and if it does well, they'll be like, oh, we'll change Flash back to a normal movie. And if it doesn't, we'll say, oh, that's going to be the reset point. We're going to have Aquaman, and then we're going to reset with Flash.
That's amazing. This many movies in, and you already need a contingency back out to reboot everything.
Yep.
Like, the Marvel movies, there was a lot of places there leading up to Avengers where they could have screwed up. They lost Edward Norton. Mm-hmm. But Edward Norton and the Hulk are not Batman.
Yeah, no. I said the other day, like, can you imagine, like Ragnarok with, like, Edward Norton's Bruce Banner?
Oh,
it would be so out of place.
It would have been weird. It would have been really weird. And I bet you Edward Norton, who's such a serious, direct, like, concentrated actor who demands on Final Cut, I'm sure he wouldn't have wanted Taika Waititi in it. I'm sure he would have been like, no.
Yeah, and if he did, it'd be like, Thor joking around about being turned into a frog and anything. And then it cuts to, like, Edward Norton's Bruce going on about how he almost killed himself because of all the sadness and shit.
There's a monster in me. Although that being said, like, it's not that Norton doesn't do comedy. Like, he did Death to Smoochie, and he's done a couple other comedic, like, more comedic roles. But, like, no, it doesn't seem like he would be down for that.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's your Ben Affleck Batman news, everybody. Be sure to stay posted for when they eventually recast him. Because that's another thing, too. It's like, I think the writing's on the wall. I think everybody knows that there's a good chance he might back out. But even still, it's like, don't say that a week before the movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a dick move. Like, I'm going to be, like, after that interview would be over, I'd be looking at him and I'd be like, motherfucker. Like, again, to compare it to Marvel for a second, at least Mark Ruffalo in interviews only just gives information he's not supposed to.
Yeah, and accidentally Instagrams parts of movies.
I loved that when they were all together and Sam Jackson was yelling at him like, motherfucker, turn off your phone. What are you doing, Mark? What are you doing? Because, again, here's the thing. You might not think it's Samuel L. Jackson, but he is very professional in real life, actually. And he's very, like, not jokey. He's like, in character, I'm my character right now. Don't break my character. So to hear him just be like, turn off your phone. When Sam Jackson yells at you to turn off your phone, you turn off your phone. Mate, can you believe we've been talking for about an hour now and we're still only about halfway through the news for this week?
So much news. And I imagine, I guarantee after we do this, there's going to be some other big news.
Oh, yeah.
Rob Hickman's going to be over at DC by the time we get off this.
Yeah, I don't have Twitter open right now, but yeah, that's the thing. Friggin' Hickman to DC now. Man, like Hickman to DC, that's going to be something. But when Aaron goes to DC, or if he goes to DC, that's going to be huge.
Wow.
Imagine Jason Aaron's take on Batman, like a gritty Batman street adventure.
God damn that. I want him to do what he did for Thor for Wonder Woman.
Oh, God, yeah, that would kick at, dude. Jason Aaron on Shazam.
Oh, dude.
He finds, like, hey, there's actually a bunch of great stuff here I'm working with, I'm reinventing, I'm doing this whole thing. But it's also, like, there's just got, like, this grit and this force to it, and it's, like, really well put together. But keeping in the DC movie zone for a little bit, and, hey, keeping with Shazam, actually, so see, we're getting better at transitions here. Could Black Bolt show up in Suicide Squad 2? They're saying maybe.
Oh well, I guess like this movie's going to be like Suicide Squad 2: The Death of the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, really.
Like,
I don't think they'll stand a chance against this guy.
what's a guy with a gun and a girl with a baseball bat going to do against like the King of Kandak, who's like power levels of Superman?
Living Lightning Man, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, that movie does kind of write itself. Okay, Squad, your next mission is to invade Kahndaq and pull off a political assassination against their leader. Oh no, he has magic powers. Fuck.
See, that'd be a good idea. They don't know anything about him. He's like some mysterious sort of king. Then they only see like glimpses of him, and then yeah, they go in to try and take over the country because oil or something.
It would be oil.
And then, oh fuck, he's fucking The Rock.
Yeah. Oh no, you didn't tell us we'd be fighting The Rock. Get out of my country, family.
I'm excited because I want to see The Rock as Black Adam, but that's the wrong kind of movie to put him in.
Clearly he wants to be Black Adam. Clearly they have him on retainer. They're like, look, we promised Dwayne we'll put you in something at some point. We don't know where. We don't know when. Because, like, that's all it is. It's like, we have Black Adam. We know it's going to be something. We know it's a career vehicle for Dwayne Johnson. We're just not sure where to put him in. Maybe you'll get your own movie. Maybe you'll be a villain. Maybe you won't. We don't know.
It's the same with Deathstroke. They're like, yeah, we might put him in here. Oh, no, that movie got changed. Oh, we'll keep him on retainer, and maybe he might get a solo film.
Seems like such an ass-backwards way to make movies. Well, we have this character, and we have this actor, but we don't know what we're going to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird.
We'll put him somewhere. Actually, again, as we talk about this, like, Suicide Squad versus Black Adam movie, it actually gets kind of more interesting because, like, Black Adam is an anti-hero, almost much like the Suicide Squad, whereas, like, I'm all about defending my country from outside interests. You, Suicide Squad, are all about regime change and fucking over other people at the behest of the U.S. government and Amanda Waller. It would be interesting to have a thing where, like, Black Adam is actually more charming and more interesting than the Suicide Squad, and you root for the main characters because of this new guy.
Well, see, that's basically gonna happen because it's the fucking Rock. He's never not charming, and it's then Jai Courtney.
Well, hey, if they get Will Smith back, then they can have The Rock and Will Smith in a charm off. No, I'm more charming. No, I'm more charming. But I'm muscly.
But I'm more muscle.
God damn, what do? We can't out-charm this man. Oh, man, but then Black Adam is like, well, tell you what, I'll, like, get the bombs out of your neck. I have magic and technology and everything. Come work for me.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I will give you political asylum in Kahndaq. You never have to go back. Oh, it's like he doesn't turn all the team, but he turns like one or two members of the team. So it's like the Suicide Squad versus the Suicide Squad.
That'd be pretty cool.
And you can kill at least one because obviously every movie has a new member. So like that's the red shirt. The red shirt's the one that turns against.
That's gonna be so fun when they start maybe casting for this film. They'll be like, and this actor as I don't know some Suicide Squad member who was in like 2 issues. And I'm like, he's the one who's gonna die. He's the one who's gonna die.
Yeah, that was so funny when they had friggin' poor Sam Lake as Slipknot. It's like, oh, you mean the character whose greatest deed in the comics was dying to prove that it's legit? You mean that guy? Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, the guy that could climb anything. He's gonna stop Superman
with his ropes laced with kryptonite. Don't count out my rope powers. It's like, can he psychically control ropes? Can he talk to rope? No, he's just good with ropes. Oh, okay. But he can summon ropes, right? He can like shoot ropes out of his. No, he can't even do that.
No, he can, and he can only carry about 200 feet. So he's not very useful.
Why did we put him on this team again? Oh yeah. You need a red shirt. You need to kill one guy to show all the rest that you're serious. Oh, okay, I get it. But yeah, so that's your Black Adam news, everybody. I was against it, but the more we talk about it, I'm kind of on board with it now.
I am, but the problem is our ideas are probably a lot better than what they're going to come up with in the film.
Yeah, the people who actually get paid to make these movies don't have as good an idea. as us two jagoffs just talking on the internet.
Yeah.
What we're saying is DC Films, hire us, is what we're saying. We'll make it for you.
I will do it for free.
There you go. You'll do it for the exposure, and I'll do it for access to the craft service table. You can pay me in sandwiches and M&Ms. You come see me on studio. I built a house out of like all those like pre-wrapped sandwiches, and I'm just hanging out in it.
It's the sandwich fort.
The sandwich fort. And all the other actors are like, "Hey, can we come in your sandwich fort?" No. No one allowed in my sandwich fort. Man, you know, we made fun of Jai Courtney for years. Turns out he's really nice in real life.
He probably is. He's Australian, so he probably is very nice.
We sat and drank Fosters with him and did other stereotypical Australian things. Yeah, wouldn't that always be the way? Like, the actors that you hear are always really nice are actually dicks, and the actors who you don't like are actually super cool.
That's how it goes.
And then me and Common played Xbox. It was great. And I'm like, man, you're a really interesting actor. Like, I know you rap and everything, but like those couple appearances in other David Ayer movies you've made are really good. You should act more, man. You have a presence about you, sir. And from the world of superhero movies to the world of science fiction, science fantasy, Rian Johnson came out this week and said that he will be involved and will be developing three brand new Star Wars movies in a brand new trilogy, not connected to the Skywalker trilogy that's currently ongoing.
Yep, new characters and everything. Everyone wanted him to direct Episode 9, but obviously Lucasfilm went, fuck that, we'll just give him 3 new movies.
Not a bad trade-off, huh?
Now, I think he even tweeted out, he's like, well, first I was like, I hope people enjoy The Last Jedi. Now I really hope people enjoy The Last Jedi.
Yeah, because it's like, hey, here's the keys to the kingdom, man. Make your own Star Wars. Play with all the toys. Do whatever you want. Man, the stress would fucking kill me with that one. I would go full Martin Lawrence. I'd be naked, waving a gun around in traffic. I'm dehydrated. And they'd be like, wow, why did Joel go crazy? Oh, they told him he could make a brand new Star Wars trilogy from scratch. He couldn't handle it.
With anything he wanted within the space of Star Wars. And he just cracked, man.
And with all the Disney money behind him. So, like, any wild fantasy he had, it could come true. You know, yeah, he was just waving around an empty, like, Word document. He apparently had writer's block and couldn't make it happen. Like, I couldn't do that. Where it's like, hey, Star Wars that you love and is like a huge influential thing on not only your life, but everyone you know's life and nerd culture as a whole. You get to write the new trilogy, man. Don't fuck it up. There'll only be 1 million eyes on you and a bunch of studio money that we want to recoup. So,
no pressure.
Make it good. No pressure. Because again, man, because you're like the biggest Star Wars fan I know. If you had to start from scratch, what would you do? Would you go to a completely different galaxy? Would you even do Jedis or the Force? Like, what would you do? What are the tenets of Star Wars that you couldn't lose?
I would do none of that. I'd stay in the same galaxy, but I'd do no Jedi, no Force or anything, and just do it. No galactic war and anything, because every trilogy has been about a galactic war. I just do it about, I don't know, a bunch of smugglers or something, or just regular people who get embroiled in some conspiracy, but not a conspiracy that has to do with the Force or any of that sort of shit.
Again, I love that. I love the stories that in this big universe, when they really go down and focus on one guy. I forget what it was. It was like a comic in like the old Dark Horse line that doesn't exist anymore. But it's like a dude who was an Imperial Guard. He was one of those red suit dudes who stood next to the Emperor. And it's like, well, what did that guy do once the Empire fell? What was his life like? What was his 9 to 5 once he wasn't that anymore?
Yeah, I think that comic series was called Crimson Empire.
That was the one.
Yeah. That was a really good. Good comic series. I like that. And just something that like people, just normal people in the galaxy, like what do they do?
Yeah. Do like No Country for Old Men, but for clone troopers. No Country for Commander Rex. He's just old, living on a planet. Like, back in the Clone Wars, I used to pile you guys 5 miles high as sandbags. And then, you know, a bunch of Corellian gangsters move into his neck of the hood, and he has to fight them off. Has to get his uniform out for one last ride. Like, wouldn't that be cool? Just some old as shit stormtrooper or clone doing stuff.
Yeah, just stuff like that. No big wars or Jedis or anything. Leave that for like the main trilogy stuff.
Some guy where it's like, yeah, you know, I used to fly TIE fighters back for the Empire, but I've retired, but I still have the TIE fighter in the garage and everything. And, you know, and like, I'm repairing it, and I'm old, and I got my grandkids and everything, and they want to put me in a space home, but I'm not having that. So what did I do? I got in the TIE fighter again and went out to have an adventure. Make it like Up, but for ex-Imperials. That would be something.
Oh god.
Can't tell me you wouldn't watch that. A dope ass movie. But yeah, so I mean, more power to Rian Johnson on this one, man.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that's got to be like. Make your own Star Wars.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it. Yeah, it's got to be insane. He's probably got a lot of pressure on him right now. At least though, he's got like some time to actually write them.
People will be judging you and going over every piece of news with a fine-tooth comb and comparing you to Lucas and comparing you to everything else.
Yep.
But guess what? There's more. So apparently, he's not the only one who's going to be stressed when it comes to Star Wars, because there's also going to be a brand new Star Wars TV series from the yet-to-be-named digital service that Disney is putting out.
This was a given. This was a given that this would happen.
It's amazing it hasn't happened by now.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, we're starting to get the point, because you look at like stuff like Star Trek Discovery and I guess Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5 and everything, and we're getting to that point where we can do sci-fi like that on TV and it looked decent.
Even the Orville that's a comedy looks amazing.
Yeah.
Dude, the episode from last week, the makeup work was shockingly stellar.
Yeah, it's amazing how good that show's been.
Yeah, like just like from a look point of view. Yeah, I'm totally on board for like a weekly Star Wars series. I hope they do it totally anthology style. I hope they do it like Tales from the Crypt, like every episode is something different.
Yeah, well, I hope they like maybe bring that Star Wars Underworld series out from mothballs and say, let's adapt some of these stuff.
Yeah, what was good about these? Let's actually take these.
Yeah.
That would be something too, man. But I would love to like do the big break in and read those like Star Wars underworld scripts to see if any of them were any good or if they were just gibberish.
I don't know. I think they probably might have been good because they didn't involve anything to do with like the main prequel trilogy or anything. It was just like what we were saying before, just original characters. Maybe Jabba the Hutt or Boba Fett appears every now and then, but it was all original characters.
Like, if I could track down, like, one or two of the writers, because assumedly there had to have been a lot of writers for all these episodes, and be like, what did they tell you?
I think George wrote them all. Or at least, like, had the story for each of them and got someone else to write the words. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. I guess that makes sense, because we never heard anything about them, where it's like, did Lucas's ideas get better or worse, is what I want to know. It's like, but every episode's about Jar Jar, though. Yeah, the series follows Jar Jar as he tries to not step in the poopy or something.
Goddamn. Or like George goes out of his way, it's like, oh, you hate Jar Jar, huh? You hate the prequels. I'm going to create an even worse character for Star Wars Underworld, and you're going to follow him. His name is Bing Bong Ting Tang. And he's he's a giant rabbit who speaks only through fart sounds. And he's got 8 arms. That's each a different puppet that we gotta work. And that's what the series is about. You follow him through the underworld of Star Wars.
Yeah, and Jar Jar is his sidekick.
And every episode is just Bing Bong furiously masturbating into the camera. For 22 minutes. Yeah, you want that? You want that, don't you? I wrote 60 episodes about this. Wow, George, this is really angry and vindictive. I know I am. And then Darth Icky shows up, too. Yeah, see, I stopped giving a shit about names.
I sold my company to white slaves.
Oh god, yeah. Then he does the white slaver episode, which is really distasteful.
Yeah, and for some reason, there's like a tie-in episode with Red Tails.
Oh no!
Where Bing Bong joins the Red Tails.
Oh god, because he was working on that at the time, and he really cared about it. Oh, Red Tails makes me sad for a lot of reasons, because that story should have been better. Lucas should have been better, and also it makes me sad because Aaron Magruder, the Boondocks guy, apparently wrote like a bunch of cleanup for that movie too. So I wish it did better so he could have gotten more work, because he has a really unique voice, and, I really like him.
Yeah.
Surprised Magruder hasn't been snatched up by Marvel or DC. Maybe he doesn't like traditional comics after years of working in newspaper strips.
Maybe
he sees newspaper strips as having more freedom, or even just the change of being like, whoa, so you mean instead of a strip, I gotta write, like, all these other pages?
Just a strip times 20.
Yeah, strip times 20. Well, can't you just do what they did in the old Superman ones, where you just take all my strips and put them together and make a book out of it? Can't you just do that? Well, I mean, we could, but it might take a while. But yeah, so that's some Star Wars stuff. But oh wait, we're not done. More news came out about this yet-to-be-named Disney digital app. Hey, if you don't have a name, Disney, you can take Disney Digital, but you got to pay me for it. What was my idea? Original name, do not steal.
Yeah, we trademarked it and everything.
Trademarked.
See, you get tables have turned, Disney.
Yeah. Usually you're the one putting out copyright claims on me and my stuff. Well, guess what? Now I'm gonna demonetize your streaming service. You're gonna wake up in the morning, make your tea, and see a little piss yellow dollar sign. And you've lost $20 to $40 in the night, and you don't know why. It's like all these companies literally come to my home in the night while I'm sleeping. It's like, shh, and then you take $20 from my wallet. No, it's not even that you take $20 from my wallet, because that implies that I had the money in there. It's like you take negative money from my wallet and money that I would have had but don't have now. Goddamn. But now I'm getting off topic. But yeah, they have a new digital streaming service, and they're going to be creating brand new original Marvel shows for it too.
Yeah, and it also threw into question, like, what's going to happen with the Netflix stuff. Like, obviously we're going to have season 3 of, and all those of, like, Luke Cage, Daredevil, and everything, but, like, what happens after that?
After that? Well, according to Not My Favorite, who was nice enough to actually get together all the news this week, thank you, Not My Favorite. I've complained in months and weeks past that I need a caped intern. Well, Not My Favorite took it upon himself to compile all the news for this week, saving me a bunch of time and allowing me to enjoy my Sunday. He puts a little note here on the side that basically says that no, that won't affect the future Netflix shows, or at least won't affect the ones we have now.
Yeah.
But maybe if you wanted a Moon Knight show or a Blade show, maybe they wouldn't go to Netflix. Maybe they would just go to this new app.
Yeah, and I don't mind. I mean, I might get the app, especially if they end up releasing it over here in Australia. I don't want to have to go through VPNs and shit to get to it.
That's the thing. Just because it's coming out doesn't mean me and Matt can get it, because we're in Australia and Canada, two countries that are universally fucked over when it comes to new things like this.
The good thing is, though, it's just going to be all Disney stuff, so they don't have to go through like licenses like how Game of Thrones is here. We don't have HBO Go because one of our networks has it, so we got to go through them.
Exclusive deals, yeah.
So we won't have to deal with any of that sort of stuff, so we might be able to get it. So,
yeah, I disagree with it in only as much as, like, fuck you, I gotta get another digital streaming service now. It's not enough I pay for Netflix, I gotta pay for this too.
Yeah, Bob Iger did say that it was going to be cheaper than Netflix, because at the beginning there's not going to be a lot of stuff, and they realize that, and they don't want to shaft people.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a cool idea, though, to be like, hey, in the future, you can get all your beloved Disney classics and a lot of our TV. Like, if they just said, hey, we have the entirety of the Disney afternoon that you like in brand new, crisp Blu-ray presentation, I'd be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they put up there, and especially, like, since they own it, they could then, like, say, like, oh, this movie's just been in cinemas, it's out, and then, like like a month or so before the release date of like the Blu-ray or something, they could put it up on the streaming service and they get more money that way.
As we said, the paradigm of movies in theaters is changing. That will, probably be the future.
Yeah.
And if Disney was the first to do it, if they were the first to hop on that, that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, and if they were the first to do it and they show that they can make money, I imagine everywhere else will be doing it as well soon. And we'll be getting that thing that all the directors didn't like, whereas you could pay to get a movie that's in cinemas to watch at home.
Yeah, you got to pay $300 for it and a licensing fee, but you can get it.
Yeah.
Which again, if that was the case, you know what everyone would do. Hey, who's got the best TV? Everyone kick in $50. Let's go to Frank's house and let's all watch it on his big TV.
Exactly.
And we can pause it and rewind it and take a piss and go make more snacks and stuff.
Exactly.
It's like when pay-per-view movies were big.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they moved from like out of hotels to your satellite provider.
Yeah.
And that was pretty dope for a little bit, even though you paid a little extra.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's that news. I mean, they basically already have me and Matt by the short and curlies on this one by being like, hey, we got Star Wars and Marvel. You like that, right? I'm like, I do like that, sir. Yes.
They know how to get us.
They really know how to get. They're just dangling that. It's like, hey, we were fucking Star Wars, but you want some of this, don't you? I would like some of this. Yes, please. Well, this much a month. Okay. Whatever you say. What else do we got going on here? So, man, we've been talking for almost the run of an average episode here. We had a lot of fun topics. We had a lot of interesting topics. Now we kind of got to move to the serious end of the show, which is unfortunate, but it kind of needs to be talked about because there were some big happenings this week, really this month. But if you've been following Twitter, if you've been following the American news cycle, there's been a lot going on about, sexual predators in high-ranking positions in the entertainment industry getting exposed and getting kicked out, from Harvey Weinstein to, everyone else down the ladder. And it's been growing and growing, and in a lot of cases, some justice has been served that's been long overdue, which I can appreciate. And now it's moved into the world of comics and superheroes because obviously with this discussion up in the news again and everyone talking about it, the conversation turned to, as I think it had to, what about Eddie Berganza, the editor of the Superman family of books at DC, who has had a ton of sexual misconduct allegations thrown his way over the years? We talked about this, Matt, you and I, like just a year ago when they flared up again. We talked about this.
Yeah, Bleeding Cool like reported on it, and it's like the worst kept secret in like comic industry that this guy is a problem, and they haven't really done anything about him. And by the looks of it, even with these new allegations, they're not doing anything about it.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, like Matt said, there was a whole big Bleeding Cool article like last year. It was a huge expose. A bunch of women came out and said, like, yeah, not only is this dude a serial predator, but DC kind of accommodates him by not having any women work in the Superman office.
Yeah.
So hopefully if he's not around any women, he can't sexually harass them, which is like, that's fucked.
That is really fucked.
Especially for Superman, like the coolest, greatest guy ever, a book that has Lois Lane in it, like one of the coolest working ladies ever, to think that that's the thing they kind of do. Now, there has been some movement in this in as much as they have suspended him indefinitely, barring some sort of like investigation or internal whatever. Again, it's the bare minimum DC could do in this situation for a guy who, again, it's an open secret that apparently he's a scumbag.
Yeah, and I think I saw somewhere, I'm not sure if it's 100% true, but like they can't really fire him because now they're obviously in LA, and I think like California has like weird like worker laws or something, whereas if they did fire him, he would be able to like sue them, and obviously maybe they don't want to do that to give him money that he doesn't actually deserve. So
it seems like a very weird situation. It's like, if this guy's a problem, why don't you just get rid of him?
Yeah, and like the way that they're going on about they like made him take time off or something, and he's probably going to do, as I said on Twitter, like sensitivity quote unquote training.
The most classic cop out,
yeah, which would just be someone telling him don't touch women, okay?
Yeah, don't be saying creepy things. Don't be doing creepy things. Okay.
Yeah, and then he'll be back in 3 to 6 months.
It's so horrible because you're like, wow, how many great Superman stories did we miss out from like women creators and artists and everything just because it's like no, don't put them there because Eddie's there.
Yeah, it's so fucked.
It's a very fucked up thing, but the fact that DC at least felt pressured enough to suspend him, it's like at best it would be nice if they let him go, but at worst, like you said, like, oh no, he's undergoing sensitivity training. Or here's another thing, I was talking to Mitch about this one. I'm like, how much money do you bet this will go for a couple months, then they'll quietly rehire him as an editor to one of these new imprints they're doing?
Yeah, I could see that. As well, like the best option now that they have Michael Bendis coming in, hire him for the Superman one and bump Berganza off. Fire him.
Yeah, send him to the fucking janitor's closet or something.
Yeah.
Do something where it's like this. Yeah, it's really, really unfortunate. It's funny, everyone's talking about Berganza and what a scumbag he is. It's funny, no one's mentioning Lobdell, even though around the same time Berganza was getting all these allegations and everything. What is it there? He was getting them too.
Yeah, that's true. I completely forgot about that.
But again, they love that Red Hood and the Outlaws, don't they? And that book's doing really well. And again, I have it on good authority from people I've talked to in the past and people I've interviewed that everything they say about Lobdell is true too. And I'm not saying that because people think, oh well, Joel's talked about many times that Lobdell doesn't like him and vice versa. No, I don't like him because of the things people have told me about him is the thing. I don't want this to be a thing. I'm just saying it's funny that Berganza is the one who gets the let go, but no one mentions anything about Lobdell, even though he has the same shit floating around him.
Yep.
Remember, too, the guy, he wrote Punisher for a bit. He wrote Black Widow for a bit. He wrote Red Wolf. Oh, God, what was his name?
Ooh,
He's gone from the comic industry now, but again, he had a lot of other allegations around him too for being horrible. And then
I know the one you're talking about. I just don't know his name.
Oh God, I can't remember it. But yeah, he another comic professional who had many allegations surrounding him, and then one day he was just gone. They didn't even make a big thing about him being fired. I think his contract just timed out, and they never rehired him.
Yeah.
Which it's funny, that guy again, whose name is escaping me. I actually had a couple run-ins with him, and he was very charming, believe it or not. He was very nice to me. I reviewed his books, and he actually DM'd me.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, what's that thing they say? Be afraid of the nice ones. How many serial killers? It's oh, he was a quiet guy who lived next door. I had no idea he was eating people. But yeah, so that's one story there. But believe it or not, there's actually more stories of how this relates to the superhero universe and the shows and stuff we like. What is it? Kinberg from The Flash and Arrow and all these.
Kreisberg. Kingberg's the X-Men guy.
Right. So God, they have two similar names. Thank you for catching that, Matt. But yeah, him now, Kreisberg. Even he's getting shit. What is there? Exposed now. A bunch of people apparently saying he's been reported for misconduct several times. And they're investigating him now.
Yeah, they've actually taken him off as showrunner or something of these shows while this is happening. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's a very big cog in the machine. And hey, good on CW and DC TV for actually taking this shit seriously.
Yeah, it's great that they're taking action against these people, especially so early on as well, without anything getting out of hand or anything.
Because it's here's the thing. I would say that guy for television is probably more important than Berganza is for editing, and yet it's interesting that they're taking this much more seriously.
Yeah.
I guess it just goes to show how the two things run their ship differently. I'm sure comics is still we're a very small niche group. I bet people don't even know Berganza's name, but for the Flash TV show, when it's a big producer, when it's basically Greg Berlanti's right-hand man, more or less.
Yeah, the guy kind of responsible for a lot of this stuff we've seen in DC TV.
Yeah. Actually, hey, speaking of TV and superhero TV, I don't know if you saw the tweet there, but what is it? Mark Guggenheim was defending this guy.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, oh no, I like you, Mark Guggenheim. Please don't. Please no, Mark.
Oh no.
He's like, well, you can't paint everyone with the same brush and blah blah blah. I'm like, oh no, no, Mark Guggenheim, no.
I'm like, so the 19 sources against this guy are all wrong?
Yeah, oh no, please no, Mark Guggenheim. Like, look, I'm sure he's your friend. I'm sure it's a knee-jerk reaction to defend your friends and stuff, but oh no.
Yeah.
Now again, this one's still up in the air. We don't know. There's a lot of stuff still coming out, but I think it's good form. It's like, yeah, innocent until proven guilty, all that other stuff, but it's like, why would all these people lie at the same time?
Yeah. All of them come out at exactly the same time.
Yeah, it's a little much, and it's like, maybe they're doing it now because justice is kind of being served across the board, even if retroactively. And the last one is probably the biggest one, and it involves someone who is a constant comic multiverse punching bag, mainly because his movies suck, but also because another case of a guy who was openly known to be a scumbag, and that is Bret Ratner. This relates to Wonder Woman 2 because Gal Gadot is essentially threatening now in public that she will not be involved in Wonder Woman 2 so long as Bret Ratner is involved. Now, I didn't even know this, that while Ratner is not involved in the production directly, his production company is.
Yep. Yeah.
So he is actually making money off Wonder Woman, which is also pretty fucked to think a guy who, again, is said to be a serial predator of women is making money off like Wonder Woman, the biggest, most well-known, popular, most empowering like woman superhero.
Yeah. His company he's produced all of the DC films currently, like all the DCEU stuff. They do like heaps of shit for Warner Brothers, like heaps and heaps of movies. So yeah, this is pretty big because she's basically telling Warner Brothers to cancel his deal or like get rid of like his company. So that's getting rid of a big part of Warner Brothers that essentially gives them money to make these films, and you don't really want to piss off the money in films.
No, you don't. And also at the same time too, Wonder Woman was the one people liked. That was your big success, and Gadot has done so much to like actually raise your profile and everything. I actually would probably see them siding with Gadot before they sided with Ratner. But you're right, money controls everything though, so don't be shocked if it goes the other way.
Yeah, no, good on her for doing all of that. But yeah, you don't piss off the money in movies.
No, this is going to be very interesting to see how this goes moving into the future. And again, Ratner, much like Weinstein, much like Berganza, open secret. Everyone knew they were sleazes. They were all sorts of stories about how terrible they were, and people just kind of laughed them off and moved on with their life. Even this week, Ellen Page of the X-Men movies and everything else, she wrote a very lengthy Facebook post talking about Ratner and how inappropriate he was with her on the set of X-Men 3. Again, I'm not going to paraphrase it because I think you should actually go and read the article yourself, but it's like, this is only confirming more of what we know.
Yep. And I don't even think like Ratner's even said anything about these rumors.
No.
He's the type of guy that I imagine would come out and say like fuck all these people and
be
a real dick about it.
He has about things in the past. Like I think he famously got into like a big Twitter beef with Megan Fox of all people. There was like a big thing going back and forth, like they had beef for a bit. So yeah, I mean that's fucked. This is the that's fucked portion of the show.
Yeah, and there's going to be more coming out because it's like daily that stuff like this is starting to come out, and it's good that it's coming out. But yeah, some of it's like, what the fuck is going on?
And again, some of it's like, when the Kevin Spacey thing came in, I'm like, that's horrible. But I was never a huge fan of Kevin Spacey. I don't watch House of Cards, whatever. But then when it's like, oh hey, Louis C.K., oh no, George Takei, oh no.
Yeah, it's like all these people. When you think about it, you're like, wow, really?
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sure maybe you saw it on Twitter too, but someone had started like a little thread thing there where it's like, hey, with all these like horrible celebrity allegations coming out, let's start a thread with nice allegations for celebrities. And everyone's like, hey, Tom Hanks, really nice guy, supposedly.
Yeah.
Mara Wilson, she was the girl from those Matilda movies, or the Matilda movie. They only made one. She told a really sweet story saying that when her mom was going in for cancer surgery, she actually stayed with Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's nice. Again, Danny DeVito. Never hear anything bad about DeVito.
Yeah.
Or Perlman, for that matter. Apparently, they're both incredibly nice.
Yeah, yeah.
We both heard good stories about Luis Guzman, one of the people we knew used to hang out at his store and everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I liked him on Oz. He was good.
Yeah, he was good in what am I watching him in recently? Narcos.
Oh, he's in that?
Yeah, he's in the first couple of episodes, and he's pretty good.
I guess that makes sense. He's a prominent Hispanic actor, so of course he would be on Narcos. Yeah, so I mean, with that, everyone, I guess, do we want to talk about what we read this week? We basically filled a whole show just with news, which never happens.
I say we talk about maybe 2 or 3 comics, because there were a couple of big ones.
There were. Okay. I mean, I think, obviously, I'm sure the one you're thinking about is Action Comics from this week, which was the end of the Mr. Oz arc.
Of course, yes, the end of the Mr. Oz arc. That was like the perfect primer for Doomsday Clock.
Oh yeah, it basically says, "Hey, next time, Doomsday Clock."
Yeah, it pretty much does. But yeah, it was a perfect ending. I'm glad they didn't. I originally thought they were going to kill off Jor-El, and it was gonna have like Manhattan blowing him apart in front of Superman or something. But no, they don't kill him off. They keep him around. They keep him around, maybe to come back a little later on.
Teasing that maybe after Doomsday Clock we could live in a world where Ma and Pa Kent aren't alive, but Jor-El is.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool because we got a little bit more background on him, like on that prison and everything, and what he was doing in there and everything, and he has like kryptonite heat vision now because
that's amazing.
The piece of the kryptonite that got lodged in his face like gave him powers.
Which I was correct. The kryptonite is close to his brain, so he basically has kryptonite brain cancer.
Yeah, and that staff as well. The only thing is, I wish that staff got a little bit more attention because, as Clark says in it, there's something about it,
an otherworldly energy.
Yeah, but maybe that might factor into Doomsday Clock. Maybe something about that staff.
Possibly. Maybe it was made of metal. It was made of nth metal. That's why.
Yeah, there we go.
It all comes back. Everything that's unexplained was made of metal. which I liked Batman Lost from this week too, but that was another one where it's like, metal did it.
Yeah. Oh god, Batman Lost was at the same time confusing and absolutely fucking amazing.
It was a masterclass in like Batman history and Batman lore. It's like, hey, there will be a test after this.
There will be, and if you haven't read any of the stuff this book references, then you're fucked.
Oh yeah. I feel bad for the people who didn't read The Return of Bruce Wayne, didn't read Dark Knight, Dark City, didn't read the original Court of Owls.
It didn't read Action Comics 27, the original Action Comics. Not Action, Detective Comics.
Detective. Yeah, they reference the original Chemical Syndicate story because if you didn't read those 4, you're gonna be lost, and this story is gonna sound like gibberish.
Yeah, and even like I've read all of them, and I still think it was gibberish. There's some heavy shit in that issue.
Real specific pulls, and also kind of Snyder retconning himself in a way too, because we go back to Bruce Wayne's grandpa, the one who was killed by the Owls, and like way back in Court of Owls, it's like, he was running through the streets and everyone thought he was crazy because he was talking about the Owls burrowing into stuff and everything, and obviously he was talking about the cult. Here they retcon it and change it and be like, oh no, he found out about the metal and that's why the Owls killed him, not because he discovered the Owls.
Yeah, the Owls didn't want him to realize that they were planning on bringing back Barbatos.
Yeah, actually, he was looking through an owl telescope, and he had a very fancy suit similar to the Court of Owls. So are they implying that his dad or his grandpa was actually a member of the Court of Owls before they killed him?
I have no idea.
There was a lot that was being implied in that story.
Yeah, they even implied that the bat that Bruce sees fly through the window was Barbatos, and in like a weird Grant Morrison thing, whereas Bruce inspired Barbatos to come in, Barbatos inspired him to become Batman so he could be born again. And
who did what? It's this circular time loop of like Barbatos only found Batman when he traveled back in time after the Omega sanctions, and he latched on to him and he corrupted his family and has been puppeteering him this whole time.
Yep, and then he made Batman become Batman so he could be inspired to become Barbatos and everything. Oh,
it's a real chicken egg thing, and then they even further explain the Dark Knights by saying, like, look, Batman, the only reason you're the best in the world at everything, the only reason you're such a god mod is because I've been manipulating shit to help you out. The Dark Knights, the yous who went evil and destroyed their world, yeah, that's me when I'm not helping them. So if I wasn't in your life, you would have fucked up your Earth like one of these other dudes did.
Yeah, it's so good.
It is, and it's funny. It's almost like Snyder is like actively addressing his harshest critics, who are like, "Oh, Snyder's Batman. He's such a bat god. He always finds his way out of everything. He's always prepared. He's always yada yada yada." For then Snyder to pull it back and be like, "No. Batman's not a god. A god was just watching his back."
yeah, a actual bat god.
A literal bat god was there the whole time, and he's the villain. It's pretty nuts. Also, Detective Comics this week, their final showdown there with the Batman of Tomorrow, which, again, they drop mention to Hyper Time in this, and they drop it in Action Comics, too.
Yeah, they drop Hyper Time. Hyper Time was like a big part of this week's Detective Comics.
Huge part of it, so much to the point. Again, I'm sure it will be a big part of Doomsday Clock, too, to where I'm like, wait, did the Watchmen exist somewhere in Hyper Time? Is that what they're going to tell us?
Yeah. Maybe Dr. Manhattan is living in Hypertime or something. Or yeah,
because we see Flashpoint show up again, even though it shouldn't, because it's not it's not an alternate Earth, it's an alternate timeline.
Yeah. Oh god, this issue is so good. It as well as like just like the story of like that they were building up with like the General and Brother Eye, and I like that Brother Eye as well wasn't like used like as like a big doomsday device. It was just like a part of his plan.
I like that Luke Fox was important.
Yeah, they actually remembered that he can do shit with computers.
And that his shit isn't on the same bat computer system. So like he's like, no man, I got my own independent servers.
Yeah, you can't fuck with me.
You can't screw with me, man. I got a bunch of external hard drives plugged into my suit. Got all my movies and information on here. Yeah, that was fun. The Hyper Time stuff was fun. Now, the stuff with the costume, did you catch what I caught about this? Where it's like, hey, the General stole Tim Drake's costume when he died.
Mm-hmm.
But when Tim Drake came back, he was wearing a costume.
Yeah.
So there were two costumes.
Yeah.
So what's up with that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's very strange. Like because he got the costume from like where Tim was like killed. It was like the only thing left. But then when Tim was taken into Mr. Oz's prison, he was in a costume. So yeah, goddamn, that's so weird. Are they trying to like imply maybe this Tim isn't Tim? And maybe
that was what I was thinking. Is this Tim a sleeper agent that Dr. Manhattan or Mr. Oz created to infiltrate the Bat family? Or, and follow me on this one, because this Tim's origin is different from the Tim in the New 52.
Is it pre-Flashpoint Tim?
Did they grab pre-Flashpoint Tim Drake and make him think he's always been here while they killed off the shitty New 52 version?
Oh, you know what they've done? You know what they've even done? They Superman reborned him. They fused the Tims, and he remembers both things happening. So that's why he remembers the Belfry and all that sort of stuff. But he's technically the pre-Flashpoint version.
Yeah, although maybe that falls apart because this Tim doesn't remember Connor, and if he was pre-Flashpoint Tim, he would probably remember Connor.
Well, it might be maybe it was something like an experiment that like it didn't go. It went right with Superman because it's Superman, but when they tried it again on someone else, some stuff got a little fucky.
Or they also seek to imply, too, maybe what happened to Connor is what happened to Wally, where he got kicked out of time and deleted and everyone forgot.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Because they've clearly set a precedent with Wally that he came back and everyone he touched remembered.
Yeah, oh, so much good stuff.
And you know what? Here's the thing. Like, Doomsday Clock starts very soon. Does it start this week or next week?
Next week, 22nd of November.
Okay, you know what we got to do, Matt? We got to get together one of these days and we got to do another like brief history guide to Doomsday Clock. I've actually started writing it because there's a lot of points to cover, but there's actually quite a lot to get to.
There is a lot to cover.
because people forget they start planting the seeds for Doomsday Clock like back in like the end of Darkseid War.
Well, yeah, and like even before that with Mr. Oz in like Superman, in like the New 52 Superman.
Yeah, I'll definitely need you to cover that because it's like clearly Oz was supposed to be important, but they didn't know when or where.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely one. Any other books we want to talk about?
I've got my list up. Hold on. I don't think there was really any other bigger books this week. Yeah,
I think that was them pretty much.
That was about it. Yeah.
Yeah, we've given a nice big meaty show here and talked about comics, so I guess we can start winding her down then.
Yep.
All right, so thank you everyone for coming out and watching the show. We're happy you enjoyed it. I'm assuming you enjoyed it. I don't know. I'm putting words in your mouth. I do that sometimes. I'm a bad host. I'm
going to assume if you're this far into it, you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, if you've listened to it this far, Matt and I can only jump to the conclusion that you liked it, or you left it on in the background while you did other shit.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone. We hope you enjoyed this very, very meaty, news-filled episode. God, I don't even know what we're going to call this one now. We talked about so much.
Oh, yeah. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure that one out. But yeah, thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you want to download an audio version of this show and carry it around with you everywhere you go, we have a SoundCloud page. I'm reminded we have a SoundCloud page because they took $16 out of my account this week. To keep that up, so go listen and download and justify my spending that monthly money. Also, hey, if you're a Patreon member, you get to listen to this one first before anyone else, late Sunday night. Usually when we finish this one up, it's a little later Sunday night than usual because we talked for so long. You get the audio version, you get the video version, you get our love, of course.
I mean, everyone. You can't put a price on that.
You can't put a price on it, but if you were to put a price on it, it's about $1 a month every month at lowest. Yes. But it adds up because there's so many of you that we love so much. When you all put the money in the hat, it helps. But yeah, that would be much appreciated and everything. And we got a TeePublic store. You can check out our stuff there. We have Book Depository links. So if you want to buy a new comic trade of anything we've mentioned, you want to catch up on Doomsday Clock, you want to catch up on any of this, use the link down in the description. It's really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. There's some Christmas coming up. There's some good stuff on there. They always have sales, but their stuff is always really cheap and free shipping.
Free shipping, man. That's what really does it. Make this Christmas a Book Depository Christmas is what we're saying.
That's going to be like our little subtitle now for the show.
That's got to be our thing, man. When we eventually do our big Christmas commentary, I'll have to put that as like a little bumper in between it. Hey, everybody.
Little running chyron.
Yeah. Oh, dude, can we do we have the technology? Can we make it like a little, like in sports where they have a ticker? Can we make that the ticker for it? No, but seriously, though, make your Christmas merry and make ours too by checking this out. You'd be doing us a solid. So, yes, thank you, everyone, for watching this 77th episode. We will be back again next week. Same Comic Multiverse time, same Comic Multiverse place. Yeah, excuse me. I don't know if there'll be as much news next week, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see who goes over to DC.
We'll see who goes over to DC.
Next week, I imagine next week will be our Justice League spoiler cast.
Oh, yeah. And Punisher. We'll have to flip a coin and decide if we want to do Punisher. Well, I guess Justice League comes first because it's one movie versus however many episodes of the Punisher.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
High five.
I can't high five you. You're in a box on my screen.
Oh, no. Well, thank you all the same, everyone, for listening. We'll be back. Bye-bye.
See ya.